The reason why we experience so much conflict and suffering in life is because we live with a fragmented mind. The mind that desires happiness on one end, and on the other hand, it does exactly the opposite of what it desires. So we want peace in the world, we desire peace in the world, but we create conflict and wars. We desire happiness in the world, but we get into situations and relationships that cause suffering and pain. Why do we do that? So Nisargadatta Maharaj says, and I will read from his book I Am That. He says, weak mindedness is due to lack of intelligence, of understanding, which again is the result of non awareness. By striving for awareness, you bring your mind together and strengthen it. That means awareness helps you bring that fragmented mind together into wholeness. He's talking about witnessing here. He's saying that we always identify with thinking, feeling, and doing. And when we do that, we forget our nature as the being, which is peace, which is restfulness. And we keep identifying with more and more thinking, trying to solve our problems, trying to fulfill our desires. But all it ends up in is bringing us more and more pain and suffering. So the questioner here asks, he says that I may be fully aware of what is going on and yet unable to influence it in any way. Let's say my relationships are completely conflict-ridden. I want a happy relationship. I want peace in my relationships. But then I do everything. I do things that create conflicts. I'm impulsive, I'm reactive, I'm unwilling to accept other person's point of view. I'm unwilling to empathize with the other person. I'm unwilling to see the situation they are in. So my limited mind is basically seeing the limited conditioning of the other entity. And hence there is conflict. So I cannot influence it. If I try to influence it, I fail. I try to change the other person. I try to tell them that I want them to be like this or to be like that, but they don't listen to me. They move away even further. They become even more upset, angry, and distant from me. So I'm unable to influence it. And Maharaj says, and I'll read his response, he says, you are mistaken. What is going on is a projection of your mind. A weak mind cannot control its own projections. So you see the other person as the limited entity separate from yourself. And this is where you think that you know what is going on over there. What you're not aware of is that there are innumerable forces that is acting on human beings. And sometimes people are so bound to their conditioning that it is impossible for them to change according to your way of thinking. And when you try and force a change on them, that's an act of violence, and they see it and they resist it. And then all these interpersonal conflicts begin arising. I'm unhappy with my partner because they dress a certain way, because they hold certain beliefs which I don't identify with, and I try to control that situation. And Maharaj says that these are all your projections. You think that the way they dress is not good, that the culture they are from is not good, that their beliefs are not good, that this is all a projection of your own mind. You haven't investigated your own mind, which is fragmented. And a fragmented mind creates conflict. So I'll go on. Maharaj further says, be aware, therefore, of your own mind and its projections. You cannot control what you do not know. You do not know the total conditioning of the other. There are so many factors that you are not aware of. There are so many forces that you're not aware of. You don't know what they have gone through in their childhood, what conditioning they received in their school, in their environment, their genetics. There are so many factors that you do not know, and all of these factors were never in their control, and you are trying to change that. So Maharaj further says, on the other hand, knowledge gives power. Now, what is he talking about? Which knowledge? Not the worldly knowledge. He is talking about the knowledge of the being. Your being is the pure witness. It watches the events without taking part in them. And that is what Maharaj is saying. To control yourself, know yourself. Know yourself as what? Know yourself as the phenomenal, as the witness of the phenomenal world. Unconditioned, untouched by what is happening. And when you just drop your sense of separate self, all that remains is the witnessing, the pure witnessing of what is, things the way they are. So the questioner further says, he says, maybe I can come to control myself, but shall I be able to deal with the chaos in the world? And to which Maharaj says, there is no chaos in the world except the chaos which your mind creates. It is self-created in the sense that at its very center is a false idea of oneself as a thing different and separate from other things. When you think of yourself as separate from the others, you create this conflict. Your mind gets fragmented immediately. You create the subject-object split, where your mind is the subject, I or me, and the other is the object. In reality, you are not a thing, nor separate. You are the infinite potentiality, the inexhaustible possibility. Because you are, all can be. The universe is but a partial manifestation of your limitless capacity to become. Wholeness is your true nature. And when you get that knowledge, there is no need to control anybody. There is no need to change anybody. One does not see a chaos in the world, but see things as happenings, as nature intended them to be. It's a completely different perspective. It's a completely different attitude. An attitude of pure witnessing, where things are simply being seen, but no participation is happening. Yes, you do see things, but your mind does not label them as good or bad, evil or pure. You do not create the duality. You just see things as they are. And that is what pure witnessing is. So Maharaj says, just be aware here and now. Bring your attention to here and now. And you will know yourself. All the layers of false that you have put on yourself will shed one by one without you trying to do anything. There is no work here required to shed the false. Let all the self-contemplation happen. It is just a part of this whole process of spiritual awakening. But in the end, When everything drops and nothing remains, then you are the pure emptiness. You are the infinite potentiality, as Nisargadatta Maharaj says here. So this is a short message from Nisargadatta Maharaj that I wanted to share with you. Thank you all for your support on Patreon. And I'll see you soon. Take care.